I live about 10 miles outside the state capital. Our town is far enough away that people from the city consider it rural, but close enough that the capital still bleeds into everyday life. Most people here commute for work in the city. We have a chain grocery store, high-speed internet, but we also have farms. Cell service is good in town, but less reliable once you get outside it. My house is on the edge of town. 2 floors, 2 bedrooms, no basement, and an old oak tree is in the backyard. I've lived here long enough to know my neighbors by name. When I awoke Saturday morning, the sun had already come up. I made coffee, 2 eggs, and a slice of toast. The weather was perfect, but tomorrow was going to rain. So I put on gloves and decided to spend the day outside, pulling weeds, pruning bushes, basic yard work stuff. Nothing felt unusual about the day. Around 3 in the afternoon, my phone buzzed. Not ringing, buzzing. That alert vibration meant to get your attention. Phone in hand, the screen was already lit up. I didn't need to unlock it. It read, "Emergency alert. State authorities report civil unrest. Do not travel to the capital. More information to follow." And that's all it read. I went inside and turned on the TV. Local news stations were running the same footage on a loop. Aerial shots of traffic on the west side of the capital. The anchor spoke carefully, clearly choosing their words. An unfolding public safety situation. Law enforcement activity. Avoid the downtown area. On social media, people were already ahead of the story. Videos came in from outside the capital. Police cruisers blocking intersections. People running, fighting, yelling. Someone was screaming behind the camera. The comics section offered no more clarity. Stupid reporters, one said. Stupid was spelled with an O. Another said, "This is a joke, some kind of a prank." But the worst one was, they're biting each other. Yes, another protest clearly got out of hand. I went upstairs to shower and change my clothes, and I thought, they're biting each other? That's baloney. Around 5 p.m. I heard a car pull up, and I stepped outside onto my front porch. Across the street, my neighbor Tom was unloading groceries. He's retired, a former military officer. Still married, has an old golden retriever hunting dog. He's raising his granddaughter. Something happened to her parents. Tom didn't go into specifics about it, so I never asked. I waved a hand and walked over. His dog was outside, wagging its tail, came over to say hello. "Have you seen the alert?" I asked, kneeling down to hug the dog. "No idea what it is," he said. "Remember that prison break a few years back? Sounds like the same thing." "I'm sure the cops can handle it. We just have to wait for the idiots to tire themselves out," he said. Then both our phones buzzed. A new alert. Stay indoors. Secure doors and windows. Avoid contact with injured persons. Tom said he needed to get the groceries inside and check on his family. He called the dog and both went into the garage. I said goodbye and walked back home, but that last line stuck with me. Avoid contact with injured persons. 6 p.m. and I was still watching the news when there was a knock at the front door. It was my next door neighbor, Nick. "Have you seen what's happening?" he asked. "They're saying it's civil unrest, maybe even a riot, but I don't think that's what it is." He told me his wife and her friend had driven past the west side where everything was unfolding. She said it was absolute mayhem. There was fighting everywhere. Nick said he needed to go pack, but before he went, he told me, "This is going to get out of hand, Steve. You should probably pack too and leave." Nick and his wife were nice people. We'd grill together, watch the game, hung out. But over the last few years, Nick had changed. He started talking about conspiracies. Aliens? Yes. Human experiments? Of course. Bigfoot sightings? Well, why the hell not? Lately, he'd been obsessed with the pharmaceutical company, convinced they were behind something big. That was when I stopped spending as much time with him. I went inside, decided not to listen to him. The TV broadcast switched to an automated loop. "This is an emergency alert. Remain inside. Do not attempt to assist the injured. Await further instructions." It was about 7 p.m. when I heard the sirens. Not close, but not far enough to ignore. They didn't fade like normal traffic noise. One siren, then another, then a third. I decided to call my sister in the city. It went straight to voicemail. So I sent a text. It said it was delivered, but there was no reply. The sun was going down and I began to worry. I walked through the house, making sure everything was secure. I locked the doors, checked the windows, closed the shades, tested the flashlight batteries. I clearly remember this part. It was 9:44 in the evening. The power flickered once, then went out. Cell service dropped to 1 bar. But before the TV died, the news said one word: infected. They didn't say how. They didn't say with what. They showed a map instead. Red zones spread outward from the capital, like a stain soaking into paper. Our town was in yellow. Most houses were dark now. Some had candles. Some had flashlights moving behind closed curtains. Flashlight in hand, I walked upstairs and cracked a bedroom window. That's when I smelled smoke. Saw it coming from somewhere near the highway. Checked my cell phone, but the battery was dead. I pulled out an emergency radio I bought years ago. I had to first change the batteries. Every station was playing the same automated message. This is an emergency alert. Remain inside. Do not attempt to assist the injured. No further instructions. I think it was almost midnight when I was startled by a scream. Not one person, but several. It was far away at first. Then someone knocked on my front door. Not hard, but just enough to make me jump up and freeze in place. Then they knocked again. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I heard a muffled voice behind the door. Steve, are you still in there? I went downstairs and looked through the peephole. It was Nick. I opened the door part way. Did you hear that scream? We're leaving, he said. The roads are a mess. We're going to have to go on foot. I've got a cabin. And then he asked me if I wanted to come. But I was still in denial. I told him no. I said I'd be fine. He left. I was so sure the cops would handle this. The power would come back on soon, and we could hear all about this in the news on the morning. So I went upstairs and retrieved my handgun. Across the street, Tom's dog started barking. From the upstairs window, I could see 3 figures come running into view. Their movement was wrong, uncoordinated, frantic. One slammed into Tom's front door. The other shattered the front window. There was shouting. The dog kept barking, high-pitched, panicking. Then silence. Gunfire echoed in the distance. It was sporadic, uncoordinated. There are no sirens anymore. And the police aren't coming. Finally, I broke out of my denial. I had to leave. I packed quickly. Food, clothes, flashlight, ammo, and a can opener. I closed the bedroom window and looked outside one last time. Tom and his family stood in their front yard and were looking up at me in the window, and they were covered in blood. Then they sprinted toward my home. The impact against the front door shook the house. I locked the bedroom door, knowing it wouldn't hold. I went to another window in the bedroom overlooking the garage. I tore out the screen. Then the front door broke open. I opened the window. Footsteps came running up the stairs. I climbed out onto the garage roof. Behind me, the bedroom door burst open. But there was a shape moving in my backyard. A dog. It was badly injured, baring its teeth at me. I fired once, but that didn't make it stop. Then I aimed for the head, and it fell to the ground and went still. This is it, I thought. I dropped from the roof, grabbed my bags, and ran for the tree line. Behind me, the town made sounds that didn't belong to people anymore.